Good morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is October 24th, 2023. Let's summarize the evening. Bitcoin straight blitzing on fire. The dollar wibble wobbling around, as is the VIX, as is a lot of other things doing the wibble wobble. We have massive earnings today after hours, which, everybody will have their eyes peeled to. The dollar's made a nice rally off the bottom with us basically, trying to push a higher high and through here, depending on your time frame that you're looking at. But we are opening fairly green this morning. With all that being said, this is a game of the charts. We can revisit, the potential bottom that potentially was put in. But still, we have to acknowledge that flow is not exactly spectacular, which in some ways you can be like, well, you know what? It's like we have earnings on deck. You know what? We have this on deck. We have that on deck. All of these things are kind of within our range right now as far as a lot of things going on, a lot of movement. We continue to look at crude, we continue to look at gold. But at the end of the day, what we specifically play is the ES and Q and some options here and there. Bender, what you got for us, man?
Well, I got lots of stuff.
Good.
Lots of stuff. Let me get a screen share going here. Okay. All right. Well, the first thing I kind of want to point out is these relative equal lows down here. Excuse me. These relative equal lows down here, 4204.75. That is 61 down from here. It's interesting, and I haven't had a chance yet to go back and look at compare this with the charts of the NQ and the Dow, but it's interesting how close we got to it without not taking that, right? It's like, what did we hit? 42.12.75. So another 8 handles. Take that out. Very interesting that it didn't capture that. It did take out this low from the 4th. So 20 days ago, came down, it took that out. And if we zoom in, let's go to a 60-minute here.
Is it just me, or are you kind of gurgly over there?
Am I gurgly? I don't even know what gurgly sounds like. What do y'all say? Am I gurgly? And do I still sound that way to you?
Yeah, maybe a little deeper voice or something.
Something's different. But it doesn't matter. Please carry on. A message is a message.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Okay. Anyway, so we talked about that those old lows that didn't get taken. If we zoom into 60-minute here, you can kind of get, all right, where did we put in some sort of meaningful level, meaningful bounce? Well, you had 42.38 half, and then obviously that 42.12.75 down here. This high right here, 42.80.75, that's 15 up from here, right? This took out all these candles, all these highs right here. It did not take this one out, but it took out all this price action that would have been stops for shorts. When we came down and we made this low, this would have taken all that stuff out, right? So we fired through that, had this pullback right here, which if you throw fibs on here, is between that 50% and 61.8%. So you had that pullback down into that, and then we get a bounce. Now, when we're looking for me personally, when I'm looking for something that would constitute a market structure shift, if this was the low, I'd want to see it over the 4 hour. Kind of want to see it over these highs right here. But a break of 42.70.75 starts to have that appearance, but we need to get a 4 hour candle that really pushes through this stuff, right? If I go into a 15-minute, and you can kind of see again, these candles through here took out all these stops. So that's kind of already been done. So now if we get up and through that, well, it already took all this stuff out. So if we go take this again and not just wick it, right? But if we put a candle through it, at that point, I would say the objective is higher. And I'd be looking up here, 43.04. I'd be looking for this up here. You do have this 15-minute fair value gap up here that is unchecked. If you notice on the way down, these other fair value gaps got filled, right? That one's still hanging out there. So if we are going to push to the upside, if that's what they want to do with it, this area right here would be a target. Change this. We don't. There we go. So that area, 42.12, or 43.12 half up to 43.25, that would be a target. Head on a swivel if it crosses 43.04.25. To the downside, this low right here, if I'm looking at 15-minute candles, this low right here, 42.46 half, I would say if it crosses that, then you'd be looking at 42.38. And if it doesn't hold here or wick and then reclaim, if it gets below it, leaves a fair value gap behind, trades up into it, that's a short opportunity, targeting back down here, 42.13.25, and ultimately 42.04.75. So that's kind of how it's set up for me. What I'll be looking for, if you are looking for, okay, well, I don't want to wait for all the way down here or all the way up here. Okay, so we go to a 5-minute. It's like, okay, we got this little 5-minute fair value gap that we left behind right here. It's tested that. Above 42.68.75, you can try to play back up to 42.80 half. Again, it has to take it, leave a fair value gap behind, trades down into it. You can try that long. And on the flip side, if it breaks, I'd say this. Let's get this. So 42.60 handles down. I would say if it breaks that candle's low right there, 42.60 half. If it breaks that candle's low, you got a couple points down to 42.57.75. That's where it gets tricky, because it's like, okay, it breaks that and you're trying to play. What are you playing for? 3 handles? I'm not interested in that. But if it breaks, if you do get a 5-minute, say a 5-minute market structure shift, let's say it takes out these candles right here, that 42.68.25, it takes this out and it just wicks it, pulls back and leaves a fair value gap behind, trades up into it. Now you can try it as a short, targeting this low, and then back down into this fair value gap. Right in there. So there you go. That's what I got on the 5-minute. It either breaks above 42.68.25 with force, trades back down into a fair value gap, and then you can play this back up into here, or breaks this candle's low, same thing, into a fair value gap and go to play it lower. If it wicks either one of these and pulls right back into it, don't get caught trying to chase this breakout. That's why it's I need to see that sort of power candle through, unless I'm trying to reverse, play the other direction. Then I don't want to see the power candle through. I want to see a poke above and then a stiff rejection to try to play that and target lower. I think that's about all I got. There's the game plan.
Very nice. What you got, Stonks?
Yo. All right.
Or do we have Sonny? Is Sonny here?
No, Sonny.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, we'll get some of the Sunny stuff going, and then we'll get my stuff going. Let's see what we got. Let's see. We'll do news, upgrades, downgrades. IonQ is down 12.7% this morning. Their co-founder is stepping down. Let's see. Monster Energy Drink was downgraded, down 1%. NEE Beats, and they're doing okay over there. Lulu has been removed from a JP Morgan focus list. And then we had the crypto ETF news overnight, and crypto and Bitcoin's on fire. Hut, Mara, Riot up over 10%. Coin's up 7%. They hit coin with dark pool. We were calling flow on Mr. and Coin yesterday. Let's see if we had some dark pools. Coin got hit at 77.21 yesterday, which is rare. Coin doesn't get a lot of dark pool. And then we got some decent size on a China, Baba and PDD. I think that's mostly it on the Sunny side. So let's get into some charts here. Get this share going. There we go. We got a couple smash days on the books, potentially. Let's see if we can get this set up. Trying to do the share. There we go. All right. So, yeah, IWM's just been getting smoked to the downside. We did close again below the prior day's low. So we've got an alert set that we will see if we pop yesterday's high. That would be the entry to go long over there based on Larry Williams' strategy. SPY, looked at, if we were going ICT style, there was all these stops sitting right here. We swept that. And we did end up closing below the prior day's low. So we'll get an alert that pops if we were to break that day's high. And then Q, it actually didn't meet the requirements. We closed above the prior day's high. So I still have the alert set for that prior day's high we closed above the prior day's low, excuse me. So I have the alert set to pop that day's high over there. That's Friday's high on the Qs. So we'll see what we get over there. I'm going to start taking a look at crude. We had a nice short yesterday on crude and potentially could see more downside. We left it with basically equal lows, which have already been swept. So potentially, we also have this 4-hour fair value gap that was left behind on the sell where we were shorting yesterday. So what I would be looking for potentially here would be, we've maybe got a left shoulder and a head. So if we were to bounce, that could kind of line up with this 4-hour gap. This blue box is this candle's low, that one's high. So we've closed below that. I would expect to start seeing resistance above, but then we've also got to consider the macro environment. So it's kind of what we'll be looking for, but I'm kind of still leaning a little bit further down on crude, depending on how this plays out. If we jump over, we can take a look at the NASDAQ. And let's see what we get over here. Let's see. So we've got some relative equal lows down below. And then similar to what Bender was showing, we've got these highs here. I've got that marked up as a volume imbalance there on the daily. We haven't laid a candle over that yet. So this is going to be something interesting to see if what we do if we get up there, that 14,853.75. Let's see. So we've got below, we've got our new week opening gap, and then we've got a 4-hour fair value gap, which is this candle's high to that one's low. That's kind of what I wanted to mark that low. So if we lose this, we've got some room potentially down. And then I marked up here, we've got relative equal lows, almost like a double bottom yesterday, where we bounced. So if we get pushing to the downside, I'd be interested to see they might need to come and stop out the bull down there with the break-even stop. Kind of almost looks like an inverse head and shoulders, a stupid one where this right shoulder's higher versus the ES looked a little bit cleaner in that sense. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on the NASDAQ. If we break this, kind of similar to what, that we could have some more room downside. And then what Bender was saying, we break this, look for a fair value gap, pull back into, and then you could be targeting up here, maybe the daily volume imbalance, and then we've got another daily fair value gap above. That's what we've got on the NASDAQ there. Russell, let's see. So we have our new week opening gap. We're up against it. This is a weekly fair value gap that we've now traded all the way through. If we lose these lows, we don't have that much until we zoom out to a daily, and we have to go way back for there to be any structure back here. So I've got this green level marked out as a key level, resistance, support, and support, and then we've got potentially something down here as well if we really start pushing to the downside over here on the Russell. Above on the daily, we left two fair value gaps. This candle's high to that one's low, and this candle's high to that one's low. So we've got some targets to the upside. If we can get moving, we got 16,992, and then we would have this candle's low, which would be that, what's that, 17,0910. Kind of what we're looking for over there on the Russell. Let's see what else. We were going to take a look at AMD. All right, so AMD's kind of been bouncing in between these two key levels I had. Above them, we'll be looking for a pop and hold of 101.75, and for the downside, I'm looking at 99.05. That's kind of all I got. I got some other levels I'll call live in the room, but I'll leave it there for now.
Sweet.
Good stuff.
Is let's
Very nice. I don't know that I have.
Is
Sonny, did Sonny come on or no? No.
No, don't see him. He was having trouble with his mic that I need to help him troubleshoot. Hopefully we can do it today after the close.
He was good yesterday. Pre-market, he figured it out during market.
Oh, okay, cool.
He was good during the day. All right, we have about 20 minutes until open. Let's see what they give us. Yesterday, they gave us a bull flag to stare at that wasn't a bull flag. So I'm really curious to see what they do today. Should be a very, very good time. Anyways, 20 minutes until open, 20 minutes until open. That's all I got. See you soon.
See ya.
All right, see you in a few.